Okay, and I hope my screen is visible now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think we can start. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's meetup session. Thank you for joining us. Today we will explore an exciting topic, data agents and Copilot in Microsoft Fabric. And artificial intelligence is transforming the way um, that we interact with data, create reports, and build analytical solutions. And we have an excellent session planned today, so let's get started. And in today's session, we'll discover how Microsoft Copilot can accelerate report creation, generate DAX formulas, and help design data models more efficiently in Power BI. And by the end of this session, you will understand how AI can simplify analytics workflows and enable more intelligent, agent-driven data experiences. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Amit Chandak. Amit is a highly experienced data analytics leader with over 22 years of experience in data engineering, analytics, and business intelligence solutions. He is a Microsoft Data Platform MVP and an active super user in the Power BI community. I hope in next minutes he will be given the necessary information about himself. I kindly ask, I warmly welcome Amit Chandak for today's session. So also, before continuing, I would like to briefly highlight some of our upcoming speakers and sessions. Olena Borzenko and Anna Bardyuk are our next speakers at the end of June and in the beginning of July. Also, a little bit about meetup rules. Um, Please kindly note that this session is being lively streaming on YouTube channel and is subject to sharing for educational purposes. And a little bit about the schedule of today's meetup. Now I'm starting introduction for next 5 minutes that I'm doing right now. And if you have a question, you can type your question in chat window, right? And as it's also live streaming on YouTube, you can also type your question there. So now I would like to hand it over to our speaker. And Amit, thank you for joining us today, and the floor is yours. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thanks for inviting me. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone from the location you are joining. As I've already been introduced, my name is Amit Chandak, and I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP and Power BI Community Super User. I also run a YouTube channel with my name, Amit Chandak, and I do host a website, biworld.in, where not only you can find about my videos, but various events which we had uh, online or offline. Right now, Global Fabric Day is one of the event which we are going to organize next, which is coming on 27th and 28th of June, which is the offline event getting organized in 8 cities of India. So you can find all this kind of information on my website. I'm also working as Chief Analytics Officer at Canerica. And if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, or if you want to follow me on YouTube, the QR codes are given here. Let me move to the next slide. First of all, in case some of you are following me on my channel, thank you for 2.5 million views and 30K followers on LinkedIn. And very recently, I've crossed the 1,000 videos mark on my YouTube channel. Hope to continue to load the channels with more videos with your support. Now, we live in a era where AI is growing very rapidly. And one of the things which we as a concern, whenever we see the growth of the AI, till now, every growth we have seen in last 20-25 years is something which is increasing the roles of developer. But this is the first time when you as a developer, you are getting something which you can develop the code, which can test the code, and helping in more and more automation. And always we have a concern: are we going to be replaced, or is it something which is going to help us out? So I always feel that this is this is basically lying between the two things. Either are we writing the code which is given by GPT, or GPT is converting our vision into the code. So if the GPT's code is for your vision, then it will raise with innovation, means then we are going to survive. But if we are just taking the code from GPT and using it without having the knowledge what it is building, just by giving something, then probably we have chances to be replaced by the kind of automation we have. And so that is what little bit about what is this AI is bringing to us. Now today we are going to talk about various co-pilots and data agents which Microsoft Fabric is providing. Now I know most of you who are joining would already be knowing about Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric launched in 2023 as the um, public preview in May, and in the same year it became GA in November 2023. And since then, this platform has emerged one of the most successful platform for Microsoft. And the reason is basically this is an end-to-end data analytics platform. And now you can say it's a data platform, not even data analytics platform, because we have SQL DB, we have various other engines which are basically allow you to even store the OLTP data, the transactional data. So it's becoming a complete data system, end-to-end data system. Now here you can store your transactional data, you can take your transactional data, you can get it by various ways, like by mirroring, by shortcuts, by using the copy activities, and then transform it, process it, and then it is ready for analysis. Now this is the way for data which is basically batch data. What happens to the real-time data? For real-time data, we have Event House, which is again integrated with the entire ecosystem of Microsoft Fabric, where we can get those real-time streaming, and on those real-time streaming also we can take some actions using Activator. Or once the data is stored, we can again analyze along it with the real-time dashboards or Power BI dashboards. So whether it is data ingestion, data engineering, real-time analytics, data science, data warehousing, anything which you think about in the data platform, everything you can do inside Microsoft Fabric. The things which makes this platform so unique is basically the concept of one lake. Now one lake is a virtualized lake for your entire tenant, where you can store every data asset you have, and every data asset which is OLAP kind of a data set, which is basically going to be stored at lake house or a warehouse, it internally saved in one single format, delta. Now all the other engine, whether it's a warehouse engine, whether it's a lake house engine, whether it's the Spark engine or the Power BI engine, all can read the delta format. Which means for us is that basically every time I put the data into a lake house or a warehouse, Power BI doesn't need another copy of it, like traditional Power BI analysis, whether I do it on Azure Data Factory and put it into the SQL DB or put it into the SQL pool of Synapse. Power BI always required another copy, but that's not the case now. Power BI doesn't need a separate copy because Power BI also understands delta format in Microsoft Fabric. And that is where the concept of unnecessary copies goes away. You have all the possible connectors available via Data Factory with you to connect with more than 200 plus sources. Not only you can connect and get data, but you can push it back. Now in the Power BI world, if I ask you, how you're going to push back data to the sources, we have a lot of registers. Okay, we need Power Automate, we need this and that, and need that. But here, your lakehouse or warehouse data, you can easily move it to SharePoint, easily move it to more than 30 plus sources using data pipelines. And on top of this, what also make it unique is basically uses of a single compute. Means you have so many workloads. You have Power BI, you have real-time analytics, you have Activator, you have Spark notebooks, all different workloads work in different manner, but you can run them using one single compute, and you're getting charged in a different manner, but Microsoft is taking care of that. But you can use one single compute. Yes, definitely, if you are a really large customer, one compute cannot work. You might need to have a multiple compute architecture, and that is also supported at the workspace level. You can choose what compute unit or what capacity you plan to use for that particular workspace. So Microsoft Fabric offers you unified architecture and experience, means from the top to down, the entire security model, the way the access has been provided, all you will find having an, a unified architecture and experience. All the UI looks same. The options would be found at the same place when they are same. So this is Microsoft Fabric for you, just a brief intro. But what we are interested in more today is Copilot and data agent. And in Microsoft Fabric, you will see Copilot everywhere. I want to develop a Power BI report, I have Copilot. I want to develop Dataflow Gen 2, which is already low code, no code. And now I have Copilot on top. It means now even I'm not going to do the drag and drop. I may just type the things in NLP and can get my things done. Then if I'm on a lakehouse or a warehouse SQL analytics endpoint, I have Copilot. I am in Notebook, I have Copilot. Now to use Copilot, there is one thing which is necessary. Now, some of you using Microsoft Fabric, Microsoft provide a trial, and trial is as good as F64 capacity. The trial capacity is there, but that trial capacity will not allow you to use Copilot. You need to have a paid capacity. Now, paid capacity can be as small as F2 or F4, whatever you want to use, but it need to be a paid capacity. So for today's demo, I'm going to use a very basic paid capacity. And with that, we are going to try whether we are able to use the Copilot or not. Now, along with the Copilot, we also have data agent. Now, data agent in Microsoft Fabric is basically can be created on Power BI semantic model.
Excuse me, Amit, for interrupting you. Have you shared your screen?
Oh.
Okay,
We have
please
gone
share your
so
screen.
far.
Okay,
We have
okay.
gone so far.
Okay,
Yeah.
please. Okay, thank you.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So I was sharing some of those things. I'll quickly take you through the slides. So these were the slides. I'll share it afterwards. So I think Microsoft Fabric, the architecture of Microsoft Fabric. I'm hoping my screen is visible now. And then we talked about, there was nothing in the Copilot screen, but we are going to have it. And then I was talking about data agents. So data agents can talk to your SQL analytics endpoint or SQL endpoint in case of warehouse, and it can also talk to your data on Power BI semantic models, and we are going to explore that out. Now, not only this, these data agents can be clubbed up with your Copilot Studio, and then you can combine multiple data agents and can get your data together from multiple data agent inside the Copilot Studio. So I have did experiment in the past where I have a sales data and the COVID data, those two data which typically I use for my demos having no relationship. But I created two data agent and then I went to the Copilot Studio and asked, okay, is there any relationship? And it was able to query those two data agents and able to build some relationship. Okay, this is how the COVID has a relationship with your sales or not. So that's the power of having data agents and then combining it either into the Azure ecosystem or Copilot Studio. So we are going to explore part of this power by using Microsoft Fabric. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to go to app.powerbi.com. I've already opened a Dataflow Gen 2, but let me go to the home page and then from where we'll start. And so I'm here on app.powerbi.com, or you can also come here by app.fabric.microsoft.com. And once you are there, you should be able to use Microsoft Fabric. Now, Fabric definitely require a capacity. Without capacity, Fabric cannot work. I mean, Power BI world, you have a pro license, you have a PPU license, you can do Power BI development. But in the Fabric world, capacity is must. And because Microsoft understood that you cannot have a capacity like P1 as big as this to start the Fabric, they started with very small capacities like F2, which cost you around $262 per month on the East Coast, in case you don't reserve it and still use for a month. And usually there is a 41% discount on all the reservations. Now, we are here on this place, app.powerbi.com, and here we are going to use this workspaces. Workspaces in Microsoft Fabric is the container of all your reports, dashboard. In the Power BI world now, in the Fabric world, it also contains our lake houses, warehouses, all the things from where we start applying the security on Microsoft Fabric. So here I'm going to use workspace 001 Copilot demo. And in this workspace, I have already created certain assets which we are going to use. Now, to create the assets, any kind of entities of Microsoft Fabric, you can use new items and create it. I have already created a lakehouse which contains the data. I already have a data flow Gen 2. I already have a Power BI semantic model which I'm going to use today. Now, to bring in the data, first of all, what we need some kind of a like either a mirroring option in Microsoft Fabric, or we need data pipelines, or we need data flow. So one of those things we need. Now here what I've done is I'm going to use data flow Gen 2, and in data flow Gen 2, I'm going to use Copilot Studio to create some additional stuff. So let me click here, the already existing data flow Gen 2, we are already loaded the data. Now here I have loaded my sales data. All this data is typically available on github.com. So in case some of you need this data, this is available at github.com, Amit Chandak PBI Power BI. And from here, if you scroll down, you will get sales data used in video, and you can use that URL to load the data. Now I'm going to go here, and here what I would like to do is I would like to use the Copilot Studio. One second. To enable that, on the right hand side, okay, now I need to move my camera a little aside. On the right hand side, there is an icon for Copilot Studio. If you see, this I already pressed last time, so that's why you can see it. But if it is not there, you can just click on that and open it again. And once you open, you can start talking to it. So let me ask a question to the Copilot agent. So in the Copilot, I have an item, I have customers, I have sales, and I have geography. So in my sales query, add a new column, gross equals to quantity multiply by price. And it's working on that. So now you see here is basically the new column started appearing, but it is giving error. Now let's look at what is the error. So to know the error, you can click on the empty space. Let's see what is kind of error it is facing. The field quantity was not found because it is added it into the item query. So let me do one thing. Let me delete this column from here and copy this and try to add that by selecting sales query. I've seen in the past the selection doesn't matter, but yes, sometimes it does not identify exactly what table we wanted or query. We call it in query here, so it may do that kind of stuff. So I'm giving that again, and let's see what happens. Now, still working on that. Now you can see there is a column getting added into the correct query this time. And we got gross quantity multiplied by price. Now this is now very simple stuff. We now not even writing down the code. We are not using the so-called code or low code even to go to the menu, add column, and then we go to custom column and then write down quantity multiplied by price. Forget about the understanding the AM code. We even don't bother what the code inside previously also because of the low code no code platform. But now we are even not bothered about to understand the menu flow for here. So from low code no code we now reach even to a stage where we can just type and do it. Now this looks good, but can I have a little complex column? Can I use if else or something like that? So for that, what I would like to do in this item table, I would like to have a new category group column. And let me try that. In item query, add a new column group where group 1 contains brand 1, brand 2, brand 3, and group 2 contains rest of the brands. And let me try this out. So now you can see we got group 2, and what is the logic? Brand 1, brand 2, brand 3, it's coming under so group 1, then group 1 as group 2. So the statements, we are if else statement means little more complex statement we are also able to write down. This seems good. Can it create a combined merge query also? Create a new query using merge query and combine sales and item, and from item table item query only take brand column. Now we are trying to do a little more complex, and sometime it may happen that I've tried this many times, it did create it, but sometime if the instruction is not very clear, it may give you that, okay, I'm unable to understand the instruction. So we can revise it a little bit, create a new or add a new query. Let's say it doesn't understand that. So we can rephrase it a little bit and give it did work. So we did see something coming out here, table dot select column item brand, but doesn't seems like it combined the merged the two queries. So it did not do that, but let's do one more attempt, and if it doesn't happen, then we'll move to the other things. So we'll use add a new query by merging. Okay, so we try to rephrase the query because the first instruction is not understood, because combine again is an operation, append is an operation here, so and then merging is another operation. So maybe it got confused, so we just kept one operation now, and let us see is it able to do that. Okay, sorry, I can't do this, please reword it. Okay, one more try, after that we'll leave it. Okay, so it's not getting that. So sometime it may happen that it's not getting, but we can have a better AI prompts to get that out. But right now, in the interest of the time, we are going to jump onto the another UI. So I'm going to close it, and there are various ways to close your data flow. In the newer data flow, you have these options like save and run, save and close, discard and close. So I'm using discard and close because in another demo again, I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same kind of steps. So I'm discarding it. Now what I'm going to do is I have a semantic model. On that semantic model, what can I do? Okay, data agents. So here is my semantic model. I'm going to open it. Now this is the semantic model which is going to open, which I have 4 tables: sales table joined along with item, geography, and customer table. Simple star schema is there, and in that star schema, I will try to create a report and see if the Copilot can help me in developing a report. Refresh it again. Okay, so I got my schema, and in this semantic model, I do have created certain measures. So now what we are going to do is we are going to use this measure in this report, but when we go to the SQL, we don't have these measure definitions. We will see still can we get the similar results in the SQL analytics endpoint of Lakehouse from where it is created. So I just wanted to show you the edit mode that we don't have any Copilot here right now for the schema editing, but let's look, can we do a report creation using that? So I'm going to create a new report. Manually I clicked on a new report. Now inside that new report, can we use Copilot? So here we do have a Copilot, and I have not given any instruction at the semantic model level. This was created one from here. So let me ask about, tell me about the data in this model. So I'm a new person. I just wanted to understand, and I'm just trying to see if Copilot is able to tell me something about this data. Okay, so we got core fact tables, rows, main transactional table, fact table, order number, sales date, delivery date, quantity, price, cost, discount percentage, relationships, customer dimension, item. So you can see it has given a very well defined structure along with the measures. It has given me all the definition of those. Now let me see if I can create a page using this. So create a page to analyze net data by brand, category, city, and trend. So I'm asking Copilot to create me a complete page to analyze my net. And while it is generating net, I'm right now in the process of creating, what are the best ways we can work on these models, because typically a Power BI semantic model may have tons of okay, so I need few minutes to get this data ready to create a page. Try asking again shortly. Okay, so we say add a visual net by brand. Let's see, try to. Okay, so while it is preparing the data, still what we can do is we can jump onto the SQL Analytics endpoint. So I'm going to go here on the workspaces. I'll go to back to my workspace, and I'll jump onto the SQL Analytics endpoint of my Lakehouse. Now I have two ways. I could go to Lakehouse and from there I switch it, but I'm going to use a quicker way. From the workspace itself, I'm going to go and jump onto the SQL Analytics endpoint. So, and those of you who are seeing Fabric for some time, this time around you might have noticed that inside the Lakehouse, we only have Lakehouse SQL Analytics endpoint. There is nothing like default semantic model. Previously, we also used to have a default semantic model that has been discontinued from last September. Almost 9 months has passed in that process. After that process, so we don't have any default semantic model. We have to go ahead and create the semantic model now if we want to use Power BI. So here I am on a SQL UI, and here in the DBO schema I have tables. I have no instructions right now. There are no joins which are uh, uh, done here. I would like to ask the same question. There I have a gross formula, quantity multiplied by price. And if you might have seen that I already have this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the instruction and clean it. Okay. Let me clean the previous one. Okay. So I cleared it, and now I would like to ask a question. I would like to ask gross. Okay, provide me brand wise gross sales. Now there is no definition of gross here. There is no quantity multiplied by price. I'm not writing, okay, gross sales means quantity multiplied by price, which we have done in Dataflow Gen 2 and which is already available as a measure in my semantic model. That definition is not there here. And if you look at here sales table, there is nothing like here. There is no gross here. Okay, so we are leaving it for the data agent to understand what gross is. So data agent has to understand the relationship between the tables. There is no relationship because it's SQL Analytics endpoint. Unlike our semantic model where we already have the existing relationship, there is no relationship here. So it has to identify the relationship, which it has to do with the common keys. So if you see, it did have identified, and look at the key. This particularly reason for taking item table is, though the names are almost similar, but still there is a difference between the cases here. And then it does a join, and it did get the definition of the gross sales from the agent knowledge. And then we can simply select this query, or we can simply run it. There is only one query here. Okay, so I'm able to get that also. Now I would like to see, can I give little more stuff here? And let me see if I have a preceded text for now I'm going to ask a little different question. Top 10 cities by net. Net is gross minus discount amount. Discount amount is absolute in the table, need to be divided by 100. Now there is specific instruction I'm passing. I'm also passing a net formula. So now I would like to see gross formula. I'm not passing. I'm assuming it is able to create gross. For net I'm passing, and that too in my net sales I have the discount amount, which need to be reduced. The discount percentage is actually absolute. Instead of 0.12, it is actually 12. So it need to be divided by 100 to calculate it correctly. So that kind of instruction I have given. And now let me do one thing. Let me take this new query here. And look at the calculation. So gross multiply by discount percentage, dividing by it by 0, and then taking care of that. So we got a net sales formula here, and top 10 cities for top 10. So let's select this and try to run this query. So we are getting the answers here. So, and we can ask other questions now. see, there's no formula here. We are just giving the formula into the instruction itself. And usually this is a long debate, semantic model versus SQL analytics endpoint, what we should do. And we had a lot of discussion. So one of the things you have to remember that if you are using SQL analytics endpoint, it doesn't contain your formulas. And every time my tokens has to pass, like this time I'm passing what exactly net means. It means I'm passing little more text, little more tokens to get the same output. Now, you may be really happy the way SQL has worked compared to, when we go to do some DEX queries, and you will say, okay, why don't we use that? But remember, semantic model is a better choice to use Copilot and even data agents, because your entire logic of measures lying in the semantic model. So that's where we will prefer to use those. So especially when we come to the data agent, we would try to use, we can have choice of using both SQL analytics endpoint and semantic model. So we'll prefer to use semantic models because it contains the logic. We don't have to define net, we don't have to define gross, because we'll be able to run the similar kind of queries there also. Now, next thing is I'm going to jump onto the data agent and create data agent. But before that, let me see if the Power BI report is ready to create a page. So I'm back here on my Power BI report on the other tab, and let me paste the instruction. And this typically is going to happen. This is the newly created report. There is no semantic model instruction which we have given. So it might not have generated the data. So that is why when we say create visual or create page, it is not having that information. So here what we want is we want it to create a page to analyze net. So I have not asked anything other than net. So I'm assuming it should use the net measure. Now in my past experiences, this is something which you need to take care that if you have, let's say, net and total net, I do have a grand total measure, it is going to be confused. And sometime, irrespective of you specify net in the double quotes and you use, don't try to use total net, it may use total net at few places. Okay, still it is not ready, so we'll continue on the other UI. And here we are going to go back to the workspace, and let me close Lakehouse. Let me go back to the workspace, and let me see if my already existing data agent is working. I'll let you know the steps to create data agent, and then we'll try to use the existing data agent. So the current data agent which I already have here, let me again press enter here, little slow here today. So this particular data agent is created in semantic model. When I'm going to try to create a new semantic model, new data agent, I'm going to try it on the Lakehouse, which I already have. So new. And in new, we can search. There are too many things now with the Fabric, so better to search new data agent. Somehow it went to the Power BI experience. Just waiting it to load. Okay. So data agent 002. Seems like, okay, and let me click on create. So it will open the data agent UI, and once it opens the data agent UI, I'm going to add data sources. Now the data sources could be a lakehouse, a warehouse, or a semantic model. And here I'm going to use the lakehouse, which is already created here, and try to run some queries on that. So add data source. There is icon in the middle. Then on the left hand side we do have option. And once you do that, you will see all the sources which it can use. it typically will show all the data I have access to. So I have access to a lot of data, but I'm looking for the lake house, which is from this one only. So let's, okay, now I have so many. So filter, okay. I'm just seeing if somewhere it is showing which workspace it is. So in this one, I'm going to filter now the workspace from the Explorer, and I'll try to use the Lake 001. So UIs keep on evolving. I remember the workspace name was part of the table, and that's why the Explorer, when it came to next, I just went ahead and tried that out, and I clicked on the add. It should show me all the tables, and then I can check and use whatever table I want here. So I'm going to click on all the tables, and I'm going to ask the same question, isn't it? We have done something on the SQL Analytics Endpoint Copilot, and this is the data agent, which is probably internally using the same kind of techniques, but it has certain additional thing. In the setup, you can give the agent instruction, but right now, without giving any agent instruction, I just want to see, can it work? Because in the Copilot, when I use the Copilot, it didn't give any instruction. So even in the data agent, I'm trying first time to run it without giving the agent instructions. But yes, we have agent instruction, we have sample queries to make it run better. And then finally, we can publish it to share with other users. And while it is happening, I'm going to open one more UI because I'm seeing we are reaching the 50-minute marks and 10 minutes for Q&A. Okay, and we can see the details. It has run a query. See, you can see almost similar kind of query it has generated here. Now, the reason I was using the other UI because I have a semantic model based data agent, and I would just want to see, can that semantic model based data agent can do the same job for me? So let it open. Now I would like to see, I can run the SQL based, and we've seen the SQL running. Can a data agent based on the semantic model can do the same job for us? Here in this model, I did have provide in the setup agent instruction. I did not provide any sample queries, but we have an option to provide sample queries also. I'll go to data back, and here let me click on the sales table. See, I use the major in it internally. In spite of not checking the sales table, it did able to get that brand wise gross sales. So this time I'm asking the question, same question, brand wise gross sales, the smaller version of that. And that was SQL, and this is semantic model, means the DAX should get generated and we should get the answer. We got the answer, and let's look at the extended response. My God, what did I have done? Clicked. Just wanted to see if I can see the DAX query. I know we can see it. Okay, the one step completed is not showing, but I can show you the previous one. See, it did generate the DAX query. Now, no more SQL query. This is the DAX query. So depending on what you're choosing, the semantic model or SQL Analytics endpoint, it can choose to do queries. Now, same way, we can ask question now, margin percentage. Now, there is no margin. Let's see, can it get margin or gives error? I have not defined margin. Let's see. So we're talking about margin. There is no measure which is margin here. Discount, gross, net. No COGS, no margin. Now analyzing the semantic model showing margin percentage gross minus cost divided by gross. Now the thing is, I'm hoping it will do a wrong job because I have cost not COGS. So it's going to use the COGS, cost not COGS. Okay, and you see high margin because my assumption is that it's used the cost, not the COGS, which is quantity multiplied by price. Total cost. So if you see major total cost, sum of sales cost. Okay, so I'll put this and let it try to solve this by creating additional measure, and we can start taking the questions. We will be waiting for the results to come in. Elgar, we can check if there are some questions. People can raise their hand or they can type in the chat window.
Sure. Thank you very much. Actually, there is one question that says, what governance considerations should organizations think about when implementing AI agents? That was the question that I got from YouTube and shared it here.
Okay, so I'll answer that question now. Just wanted to show you the here that there is no major defined as COGS. I will not suggest that you don't define it. You should go ahead and define those majors, even the margin percentage, but it is able to define that. So one of few of the things which, and I have a slide, one of the images for that, which are some of the best practices which can help you. So one of the thing which we always say is use semantic model. So basically we have a SQL model versus semantic model. Then the instructions you are defining should be really crisp instruction. It understand the models and everything. It's going to add some of those stuff with it because that is going to consume your tokens. Then you should have all the base measures. You should not have those MTD, QTD, YTD. Because you would say one stage you are talking about saving tokens and another stage you are saying don't use derived measure. The problem is those derived measures can create the confusion. I talked about net versus total net. I have two measures which giving me grand total. Now that's absolutely fine when I have a Power BI report. I need this to divide a percentage of total. That was needed for me. But here, if I simply define net and total net, it may get confused when to use net, when to get total net, and it may not be able to answer the questions correctly even after I define the instruction. So that is why I will always say, okay, define the base measures and keep the derived measure away. And derived doesn't mean that net is a derived measure, but it is like, gross minus net, but you can still keep that. Similarly, or the gross sales could be a derived measure, which is net sales plus discount amount. You can keep that kind of measure because these are still your base measures. But MTD, QTD, YTD, all such calculations, try to avoid such calculations which can create overlapping definitions and which can create confusion in your agent. Try without that, and if it is working, fine. Now try to keep the instructions really crisp, agent instruction as well as what you're passing to the data agent, which will minimize your number of tokens so that you don't do a lot of expenditure on your compute units. And because ultimately it's the same compute from where you are getting. Now this is the same F2 or F4 capacity which is running my lakehouse SQL query, which is running my data agent, creating my token, passing it to AI, getting the answer back, executing my SQL query and giving me the answers. Okay, so all those expenditure is all happening on those compute units only. So we have to try to minimize all those steps. So use semantic model on because it has the measures, it has the definitions, It's going to go and tell, okay, use gross measure. Simply it is going to use the gross measure without worrying about the complexity, how complex that measure is, because then DEX engine is going to do it. So we don't have to pass the instruction or the tokens to the agent to calculate that gross. So that's where we prefer the semantic model. Any other questions we have?
Not yet.
Okay, so we have some time. I will still see if we can get this one working, or maybe before that, let me do one thing. Let me put a visual here. Okay. So now this time, before doing the question, I'm just putting a visual here. And you might have seen that, one of the things which I've done is I have created my measure in the separate table. And that's where you have to also do. The reason is, if you have paid attention to the data agent, there is a table which you can select. And the reason I created separately measures, and I have asked in the instruction, I said create the drive measure in a separate folder, which will allow you to not to give all the measures to your agent. You can only give your base measures to the agent, and you can keep the drive measure definition out, which will help you in reducing the confusion to the agent when you have multiple measures with the same name. So keep only the base measures here, have another folder drive measures, and keep your MTD, QTD, YTD, all those measures there. Now very selectively you can add the measure if you think, okay, it is doing too much of work or consuming too much of tokens, then you can actually go ahead and add those. Now how do we know? We can go and look at the reports, the capacity matrix report and the chargeback report. So today it seems like it is not ready to give us the answer on the Copilot, not ready to add it, but we can simply say analyze brand wise net. Let's see, can it analyze without creating a visual? Any other questions we have?
Um, no, there is no questions, Amit.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is, because we have some time, I'm going to, after this question, I'm going to save the report and see, does viewer also get opportunity to ask the questions? Now I'm a report editor. I can ask a question, I can develop the visuals. But as a report viewer, can I go ahead and ask the question? Is there a flexibility to do that? Okay, so it seems like it got the something drafting the response. I'm assuming it's able to query the data this time. So we got net by brand. It did create a visual this time here itself. So we got the answer. We have got similar kind of answer, brand 8 on the top, similar kind of answers we have got in the past. And it did show us, okay, brand 8, 13 and 11 led and generate around 60% of the net, while brand 4 contributes only a small fraction, including the pronounced long tail pattern. Okay. So we get this kind of analysis. Now this analysis is continuously increasing, because I've seen in the past it just give me the text kind of output, that now it is giving visualization. It does analyze, how much, what are the top brand contributing percentage and all those. So all those kind of analysis you're getting here. So improved analysis, that's what we are using Copilot for. But I am a designer here and I have access to the complete data model. What happens when I go and try to analyze the same thing as a viewer? I'm just giving a name here and saving this. So when I save it for first time, it should ideally lead me to the viewer mode. And in the viewer mode, let's see, do we have a Copilot first of all? And write the summary is a very common question. Again, we're going to ask brand wise net. And then the last question we are going to ask is city-wise net. Because one of the initial limitation what we had and we want to check is it's still continuing is you need to have a visual to answer a question in the viewer mode. It was in the past did not work at the model level, while for the viewers, for the editors, report editors, it can work at the semantic model level. So right now I asked a question which is basically the visual support this. There is only one page, so definitely that is the only thing we have. Now we are going to ask city wise net. Now city, there is no visual supporting it. The semantic model should help in answering that. Let's see, is it able to go to the semantic model for the answers which are not available in any of my visuals or report pages. So other than that, you also have it on notebooks. When you create the notebooks, you would be able to use the Copilot agent to create the PySpark code or the different kind of languages code. So everywhere in Fabric you will see you have a Copilot. So we are having the era where whatever you plan to do is going to come out using your data agents. You don't have to write the code, the agents. That's why it's called Copilot. It's basically assisting you to write down this. And the good thing which everybody, if you as a viewer looking forward to, and that's where you don't have to create so many visualization. And that's where when Q&A visual is going away, that we have already got the information that Q&A visual is going away. Sometime we had used that as an alternative to this. So we need something which can answer the questions on the semantic model, and that's exactly it is doing that. For the viewer, it is answering the question on the semantic model. There is no visual. We have created report in front of you. There is nothing like city-wise net sales here, but it still is able to answer that question. So that's where the entire purpose is, that we don't create so many visuals. We leave it for the end users to ask the question and get the answers. So this is how the Copilot, the data agent, helps the end user in Microsoft Fabric to get their answers. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have liked this session. In case you have more questions, we can take one or two, and you can continue to connect with me on LinkedIn to ask more questions.
So thank you very much, Amit, and thank you everyone for joining today's session. Once again, I would like to thank to Amit for sharing his knowledge and valuable insights with us. And I hope this session has provided useful ideas and practical knowledge that you can apply in your own projects and organizations. So I also, in my turn, would like to wish you a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you at future events. One question, Amit, is there an opportunity to share with us your presentation in PDF format?
Yeah, I'll share
I...
with you. Yeah, I'll share the presentation and the diagram with you, and you can share with the.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.